thing about the 3D is that it's really the three segments, which are the do it yourself, done for you, and that middle section, which is the done with you. So do it yourself is self evident. You research, you find out, you learn, and you do. The done with you is more of a tutorial or a workshop style of an 8 week to 12 week program. I say 8 weeks because you get 8 lessons, but there's 12 opportunities or 12 weeks where if you miss one, you can catch one up. But that's the done with you deal. And the done for you is me jumping in as a buyer's agent and doing everything from the bidding, the research, the negotiations for you, even to the stage of perhaps flying out to Tasmania to find out what's on the market at the moment and meet the people that are doing the pest inspections and the asbestos inspections, etc. So that's a complete, give me a brief, send me hunting. But that's the 3D. Yes. That's why the DIY, yes. DWF, and DWY is DDD, 3Ds. But the interesting thing about there's two things, I don't think we've spoken about this before, Tony. There's the bee side and there's the tree side. So in the 3D bee tree, the bee, this is a really funny story. When I was a little baby, I think I was roughly a 1 year old. My parents went for a trip overseas, and they brought me back a gift from Germany. Now, one of the cartoons back in the days, back when I was young and dinosaurs roamed the earth, was a cartoon called Maya the Bee. I don't know if you remember Maya the Bee.
I do.
Originally, that was a German cartoon. So they, on their trip to Germany, they brought back a bee. So they brought an inflatable Maya the Bee doll. So in my cot, and I've seen photos of this recently, that there's me, the size of a 1 year old, and there's an inflatable bee bigger than me sitting in my cot. And I'm like, whoa. So I don't know if that's influenced me, but one of the lessons that I learned when I was working at the bank was that when a bank evaluates how good a property is from their perspective, they look at how low the risk is. And for a bank, the more the tenant can earn, so if you've got a good tenant that's on a good job, the safer and more comfortable the bank feels. So in a way, the bank is looking for where the busy bees are. And the tenants that they're looking at, they don't want just one tenant in a city that earns high amount and they're the needle in the haystack. They prefer the city to have an average income or a mean that's higher. If your median income is higher, then they know that if one tenant goes, one tenant moves to another company, one tenant moves into state, they can find another. So where the bees are tells you what investment property is going to be long-term. It tells you where you can actually find other trades. So if you're in the area where there are a lot of busy bees working around, you tend to find plumbers, electricians, and trades. It also tells you where development is happening in the future. So one of the research things that you do is work out where the government is being a busy bee. So where's the bees actually fits into a lot of different categories that I search for when I'm looking for property. And I've done that for so many years that it's now a blueprint of the Where's the Bees blueprint rather than just a concept. There's more of a step-by-step guide rather than trying to take it by the seat of your pants. And the tree, so there's a couple of things about the tree. So my name, Amir, actually means the top of a tree. So when you look up the dictionary meaning of it, it's famous in a lot of different countries, in India, in Israel, in Egypt, in Lebanon, and it means different things in different countries. But in Israel, it means the top of a tree. So the tree part of the 3DB tree makes sense to me. But the other side of having a three-dimensional business, meaning the do-it-yourself, done with you and done for you, is that building those A teams, when you're meeting somebody who's a good carpenter and a good tiler, a good roofer, etc., you're building relationships with people that either know other investors or they invest in property themselves. They usually know selling real estate agents and buying agents. They usually know property managers. So they are a tree network all by themselves, especially if they've lived in the area for a while and they've laid down roots, so to speak. So then you've got the tree of the 3DB tree linking together all the professions that are in that metro area, in that suburb, in that town. And that works together with the 3D side of, if you're going to do it yourself, you need to have good connection of networking. If you're going to get somebody to do it for you, they need to have a good connection or networking in the area. So the busy bees make sense, the tree makes sense, and the 3D makes sense. But without having them all together, you're still missing the secret ingredients. It's really the fact that you've got all three of those things together, the 3DB tree, that makes it a system rather than just, let's learn this and try to implement, let's learn this and try to implement. Making it all together as a 3DB tree is far more of a system. It's far easier to estimate the end result when you know which part was planted 5 or 10 years in the past.